Right, hello, happy Friday traders. I thought I'd do a quick little video market update, I suppose, close of market. We're nearing NFP, we're only about 2 hours away from that, so something to be aware of. But there's a couple of notable mentions this week, positions that were taken. I've just taken this one as an entry order now. We are, as I said, a couple hours away from NFP, but because it is a trend chaser, I really like this one as a trend chaser. It's very good. You guys can see, very clear, obvious trend chaser entry there. So I've gone ahead and placed that entry. That wasn't the point of today's little update. I was going to do a breakdown, and maybe I will still do a breakdown of positions, but there's two that I'm in right now. This is one that I took yesterday. It was Swiss yen. Go ahead back to, let's go back one more. See what it looked like at the time of the entry. We ran up, pulled back here, and started breaking down. So I had this kind of spring-loaded effect here on the 1 hour. Had a beautiful DDP short. That candle there hadn't formed, that daily candle. It was just a big bearish engulfing. It had broken down and closed quite comfortably below this touch support level, and then I entered on the 5-minute break, which was over here. Right there. It was actually a 5-minute break and retest. I remember I was waiting for it to break, and then I checked back 10 minutes later and it had broken a little bit too low. But I didn't want to be trading too far beyond recent lows, which I had lined up there. So I placed the entry order back on the 5-minute, which triggered right there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. 5-min, B and R. And then I've just checked it again today, and we can see that we've run fairly favorably. It is just a regular pip snatcher, so I'm not really managing this position. I may close out. I probably will end up closing out before NFP comes around. I gotta say, how refreshing is it to have these snappy charts? I had fast internet in Bali, but it was just unstable and the latency was quite high. So when I go from chart to chart, boom, it's like a millisecond, right? Before it was always like half a second, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. So this is the noteworthy trade of the week, I reckon. I did take this one like moments before we started weekly roundtable, and I told you guys all on the weekly roundtable I just took this trade, broke it down. It was an SBO position. This is a 1 hour time frame. We had this very nice trend line which I'd drawn in way back here, and then as we saw when we jumped down to the 5-minute time frame, that line again, I showcased this live. I'd drawn it on the 1 hour time frame up to about here and beyond. And then what happened? Price kept coming back to reject it, all the way up here. And then it rejected the downside, the back of it. And then I entered on this SBO live entry on that 1 hour candle close. And then they're back at these recent lows. So we had the 1 hour candle close right here below the 50 EMA. So that was the first one there. And then as this one was developing, again, it was 8 a.m., 9 a.m. is when the call began, and I took the entry just before that call began. Now, I did say on that call as well that I was going to exit if we started seeing a slowdown at the 4 hour 50. It is an SBO, so I was trading it as a reversal. I was happily trading all the way down to the 20, 50 EMA zone. It's heavily management focused. So I did end up taking an entry when we saw that little 1 hour doji candle form. If you look at where my crosshair is, price had just touched the 4 hour 50 EMA, and then I and started seeing signs of slowdown, and it's over on the 5-minute, I believe. If we go and see, so we had that. It was half we saw that candle, and this one started popping. It was there that I ended up taking the 2.18% profit. I did a manual close on that one. So I'm really happy with that position, happy with the exit. It wasn't a FOMO or whatever exit. It was because we were seeing a strong response of that 4 hour 50 EMA. And let's go and have a look at bar replay, what everything actually looked like at that time. So let's make this the 1 hour. So now we've got the 1 hour down the bottom, 4 hour up in the top right, and then the 5-minute over here. So let's see how things were developing at that point in time, right? We got it set for all charts, yep. So next candle. So it looked like it was, price dipped quite far below the 4 hour. I was quite liking that. The 1 hour, yeah, was still looking very bearish at that time. And then when we started seeing that forming, I was like, okay, well, now both the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and that quite big candle there, like that is the first signal that I was seeing price was responding to that. And that all happened in the space of like 1 5-minute candle, really, right? So that's why I had alert. Well, I didn't need an alert, but how you would have had it was an alert on that 4 hour 50. Alert happened. Great, price pushing down, started popping back. Are we getting some kind of response to that? And is it a significant enough response? And what does it look like? And I could see, well, now that's starting to look like a 4 hour doji, just from a quite big bearish 4 hour candle. 1 5-minute to that. And I was just like, that's it, cutting it short. I did post that over in Slack as well. Right here. And you guys will see this was not a bar replay chart. This was the live chart that was taken. Yep, so I posted this within moments after, and you can see up in the top right corner, the top left corner here, the time that I screenshotted it. So that was 4:30. That's 4:30 there, and I posted this at 4:42. Right. So I just wanted to kind of point that out as well. That I posted it right then. It wasn't. I just know that some of the new members might be thinking, or somebody who's not that familiar with me might be thinking, hang on, this guy's just gone and posted this the next day or a day later, and he's gone and said that that's where his exit is, but really he ended up carrying it too far, and then his exit was he used a bit of a 2020 hindsight bias to see, okay, well, there couldn't have been an actual better entry because price ended up running up from there. That's not the case, right? When I do post these trade outcomes, I make the conviction, I make the decision. Could price have fallen, carried on down and blast through my profit target? Certainly could have, and quite a lot of the times it does do that. Quite frequently that happens, and I post these live with all of you as well to see when that happens. But again, what we're doing with trade management is we figure out what works best majority of the time and do that every time. You guys know that I preach this, right, all the time. So with my trade management methodology, with this style of trade, if it runs and it hits that 4 hour 50, we start seeing early development signs of a reversal or a rejection, of price going to bounce off that. More often than not, it's better off. More frequently, it's better off going and closing the position, because that 4 hour 50 is quite a sturdy one. It holds strong, and we can see it tried to break it many times and it failed and it popped to the upside. So there we go. Those are my 2 trades of the week. So this one here is running. Oh no, I had a third one down here. This one I'm live in still. So we're running at about half a 0.4% profit, something like that. Banked 2.18%, and it was US 30 was the other one, which we covered pretty extensively. I know this chart's an absolute mess here, but we broke this one down quite a bit on weekly roundtable, and this was the I entered down here on that 5. I'm not going to break this one down too extensively here and now to keep this video nice and short. But we saw this nice break retest, 382, 1 hour 50 EMA and 4 hour 50 EMA protection, stop loss behind 0.382 with a DDP. Let's go with a strong daily direction prediction, as we've seen higher highs and higher lows. Guys, this is not how I do analysis on the charts with all this garbage on here, right? You guys know how my chart looks when I'm doing analysis. It looks more like this. But it's because I've applied trade management and such this whole way along here. So entry here, price flapped around for a while, phase 1 risk removal, removed half risk over here. This is the 1 hour time frame. Price trended up here as these highs broke on the 5-minute time frame. I secured 0.6% profit, kept running up. Now the 5-minute is where we were actually managing this mostly. 1.15% secured. When I put that behind these lows here, when that high broke that high, I put stop loss behind that low, trailed it up, securing 1.15. And then at this point here, where I was a little bit late, but when that high broke previous high, I trailed up behind that low, securing a little bit more, 1.4 if price would have pulled back. Now it did rally up quite a lot higher here. Now this was why did I not trail there? I think I was out for dinner at this time. It was 7:30 here. Ran up, pulled back. And when I got back, I saw price had already pulled all the way back down here. So really, as per my trade management, I should have secured here. But by the time I'd come back, it had already fallen. And I was like, well, it's too late now. I can't trail That's where my my new stop loss should have gone, down here behind that low there, somewhere here, as that high broke previous high. Now that pulled back, flapped around, and then it was the next day here, 9-10 a.m. just took me out there for a I didn't update that, but it was that there. So I'm going to call that SP3, so secure profit is what I call it. I don't call it necessarily a stop loss because it can be misleading. It sounds like a loss, but it was a secure profit hit of a 1.40% is what I banked on that one. But yeah, this could have ran on lot, and then price absolutely collapsed from there. So again, really happy with my trade management there. I got pretty much as I could have out of that position with my method. It would have been a little bit more, so due to not being present on the charts between 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. There was probably, probably another 0.2 or so that I didn't bank on that. But all in all, pretty happy with that. 1.4% and plus 2.18. We're at about 3.58% this week, and then this one here is running at about 0.5% or 0.4. If I can close this out, coming up to NFP at a 0.4 or so, then it'd be a 4% week, which is a pretty solid week. And then again, we'll see what our position that we just executed on Aussie Kiwi, if that's going to present an entry or if it's going to invalidate. But it's either going to pop up or it's going to fall away from here, but that's where the entry is currently sitting. Charlie's around here chasing a fly. Don't know if you're going to catch it, buddy. He loves chasing flies. Don't think he's ever caught one. He's too slow for it. Anyway, guys, that is this week's weekly market wrap. That's the update. More on this. We'll cover these a little bit more. I'll post them all over in the Slack channel. But on maybe Wednesday next week, we can break down these positions further. But yeah, all in all, we're looking at closing out for 3.5%, maybe 4% this week. Really solid week in the markets. Happy with that. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Peace and love, and see you in the next one. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.